you're a football player that lifts weights. You're getting stronger in the gym, your squats are getting stronger, you're lifting more weight and your muscles are getting bigger, but you still feel slow on the pitch. Well, strength training should make you faster when you sprint, turn, and run and play football. So why isn't it working? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over some of the common mistakes you're probably making in the gym that's keeping you slow on the pitch. Hi, I'm Tom. I'm a strength and conditioning coach for football players, and I help them to become faster, turn quicker, be stronger, and have more energy on the pitch to improve their performance, win more games, and take their game to the next level. So strength training is a key part of any footballer's program, or journey, and it isn't something that you can necessarily ignore. However, there is a right way to do it that makes you faster and better on the pitch, or there's the way that's going to keep you slow and hold you back from reaching your true potential. In this video, my goal is to go through the four main mistakes, or the four mistakes I see the most that players are doing in the gym that's stopping them from seeing progress on the pitch, and as I said, holding them back from fulfilling their potential. So before we get into the mistakes, just to quickly cover what strength training is supposed to do is when you move on the football pitch, without getting too much into it, is stronger legs produce more force. More force helps you to move you on the pitch. When you then start working about sprint speeds, every step you take requires you to push that force into the ground to move you forwards. So you have more force, then you're going to move forward. But it's not quite as simple as simply more force equals more speed. And in this video, I'm going to go through those key factors that make sure that you're not just lifting like a bodybuilder, and that you're lifting and training like a footballer to see the performance improve on the pitch. The first mistake is going to be that, making sure that you're training like a football player and not training like a bodybuilder or training for aesthetics or anything else. Anytime you step into the gym, the same way you step onto the pitch, you have to think, how is the work I'm about to do today or in this session going to improve me as a football player? Not thinking, how does it make my biceps pop? How do I get a bigger back? You need to be thinking, how is this going to make me stronger on the pitch, and how is it going to translate to the movements I do when playing football? And this is the key factor of knowing what helps you to train as a footballer compared to something like a bodybuilder. And the key ones are really going to be making sure that you're not just trying to put on unnecessary muscle mass and size, because again, the heavier you are, the slower you're going to move, or the harder it is to move. Particular muscles or exercises, but bicep curls are going to help you to run faster in football, and making sure that you're judging your progress not just based on your training in the gym, but your performance on the pitch. Yes, we want to measure and test stuff like your 1 rep maxes, or like your broad jumps and your distances. However, if they're improving, but your speed, agility, and your performance on the pitch isn't, there's something missing in that equation to improve that performance. And yes, there's a translation of turning strength through mechanics and sprint training into sprint speed, but there's also a particular way to train in the gym that helps you to do that. Mistake 2 is that every lift you're doing is slow and too heavy. In football, realistically, most of the things that we're trying to develop are trying to make you move faster on the pitch, which requires more force and power. However, the heavier you lift, the slower you're going to move. And every time that you lift heavy and slow, you're training your body to be heavy and slow. So as a football player, you need to include lighter lifts with more explosive and quicker movements. Some movements give that more naturally. Stuff like cleans and snatches, or plyometrics, box jumps. But even something like a squat, you can lessen the load, lighter weight, and make sure that when you're going from the bottom of the squat to the top, you're really driving and generating fast levels of force or high levels of force quickly, so that when you jump on the football pitch, your muscles and your body are used to applying that force quickly. That's going to help you move faster. Yes, you want to be doing heavy lifts, but if you're always doing slow lifts and exercises, you're going to stay slow. The third mistake is something that I do see a lot, and I talk to a lot of people about, and that is making sure you're not creating too much fatigue or overtraining and overloading the body. This is because as a football player, as I mentioned in the last point, we're trying to lift either heavy or fast. The more tired you get, the weaker and the slower you're going to be. So those reps and those lifts and the exercise you do aren't going to be to the high quality or the right type of lift that you want. This comes down to stuff like resting in between your sets, doing too much volume or too many exercises, or even training too much through the week so that your overall training volume is just too much and the body can't recover. If you're turning up to football training or match day and you've got heavy sore legs from training in the gym or even potentially from training on the pitch, you're probably overtraining or you're not doing the recovery in between. The idea is that we're building you up. We don't want to break you down, especially before it comes to either training or even more so a match. And mistake number 4 is probably something people do without realizing, and that is replacing your football and your sprint training with gym and strength sessions. Now, yes, strength training and training in the gym is a key component that footballers need in their program. However, you need to have your priorities of what's going to improve your performance the most. Playing football is going to be the best ways to improve. Doing your sprint work and your mechanics-based stuff and your agility training on the pitch is going to help you move better. Your strength training is there to amplify and develop the body so that those training sessions improve you more. Okay, the more strength you have, the more force you can apply, the faster and better your turns are going to be, the stronger you are going to be on the ball. Okay, however, just building strength in the gym without using that to translate to speed or football performance is where a lot of people go wrong. They go into the gym for 2 or 3 weeks, step back out onto the pitch and wonder why they feel so heavy, slow, and held back. So, yes, you want to be doing strength training, but don't replace your speed and your football sessions. Use it alongside those, okay? Whether you're going to get 1 session in or 2 sessions in a week alongside the rest of your training, make sure you're still doing all the football specific training you need to improve on the pitch. So there's the 4 big mistakes that I often see a lot of football players making when it comes to strength training to improve their football performance. I'm now going to give you 5 steps or 5 points that you can really focus on applying to your own training to make sure that your strength training is helping you to improve and not keeping you slow. The first one is going to be making sure that you're training as a football player and not as a bodybuilder. In your program, whether you write it yourself or you get it from someone else, look at it and think, what is the outcome this exercise can give me and how is it going to improve me on the football pitch? The second point, the best way to plan your training is firstly around the outcome you want to get, speed, power, agility, but after that, focus on the big lift that you're going to do on that training session, because the big lifts are normally what can give you the most result because of how big they are and how strong you can lift with those. But it also then sort of plans off the rest of your session of what muscles you're using, what movements you're going to do, okay, and what else needs to come along with it. Point 3 though is going to come off the back of point 2, in that yes, your big lifts are going to be your biggest priority, i.e. that they're the ones you want to give a bit of focus on and energy to, but don't forget the accessory exercises, stuff that are going to work your hips, your groin, okay, stuff around your knee joint. Don't forget those exercises. They don't necessarily feel the most intense, they don't look like they're probably doing as much compared to something like a squat, a lunge or an RDL, but something simple like Copenhagen's, okay, clamshells, okay, they're the things that can help the accessory muscles that you use to stabilize joints and assist the big movers in your performance on the pitch. Point 4 is going to be about your power and plyometrics. These exercises, although they may necessarily not be as heavy as your big lifts, you want to put these before your big strength training, because this is where you take the power, okay, or you take the strength and apply it into power and speed. But you want to give that the most amount of energy you have before you get tired from your strength training. After that, you do your big lift and then you go into the rest of your exercise. And the last point, okay, I made it in the mistakes, and this is going to be the fact that your strength training shouldn't replace your speed, your agility and your football training. It should be there to accompany it and assist it in progressing as a football player. So making sure you plan that in your full weekly journey, okay, or your full weekly plan or your monthly plan, however it works, to make sure that you're getting the right training in as a football player. As a bonus for anyone that's got this far, I'm going to give you a easy kind of breakdown of how to plan a gym session as a football player that you can kind of insert your own exercises to. After you do your warm-up, the first thing you want to focus on is your power, okay, and your plyometrics. This is going to be your biggest exercises. I can start with light plyometrics and build into bigger, more powerful exercises, but you want to do these first when you've got the most energy. You then go into your main big lift. This is something like your trap bar deadlift, your back squats, something that's going to be the biggest compound and the biggest, heaviest lift. Again, yes, you've just done your power work, but this is where you still got the most amount of energy before the rest of the workout happens. After that, you want to add in something that's unilateral or single legged work, okay, because on the football pitch, you're always going to do everything on one leg. Even if you're running up to jump like a goalkeeper, you always see they take off on one leg, jump up, grab the ball, or if you're going in for a header, you're going to lead on one leg. So you need to make sure you're doing single-legged work as you go through. After that, this is when you want to add in something like upper body work, okay? It could be a superset to get back both a push and a pull movement in there, but although as a football player, most of it's done through the legs, you still need full body balanced fitness and strength. So you need to make sure your upper body is strong as well as your lower body. And again, you're still using it on the pitch, okay? You still need to have strong upper body to, battle for the ball, okay, and ride challenges. And then to finish, you're then going to do your accessory work. This could be stuff like your hips, your calves, your groin, okay? It may be some rotation work or even maybe some re or prehab exercises that you've been told to do. This is going to be at the end where they're the smallest exercises, or they tend to be the smallest exercises. So you do it at the end when you've already used a lot of your energy, so you're not overloading the body. To be clear, this isn't the end-all be-all program. This is a nice way for you to think about it, where you can just insert your own exercises, and if you're ever not sure, you've got a way to plan your own strength training session to improve as a football player. So there you have it. You've got the 4 biggest mistakes that I see football players make in the gym that's keeping them slow. 5 ways that you can use and plan your own strength training to help you improve on the pitch, and an easy sort of fill in the blanks exercise guide for building your own strength training session in the gym. Just remember, it isn't lifting weights and strength training that's keeping you slow. It's the way you do it, okay, and not knowing how to do it properly for football performance. But I hope after listening to that video that you've now got the right idea and know what to avoid to improve your performance on the pitch through strength training. If you've got any questions about anything from the video or anything you want to see in the next video or videos to come, put a comment down in the comments with what you want to see, and I'll do my best to answer it in the next video or the one after. And if you want to see more videos like this to help you improve your football performance through strength conditioning and fitness, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see these videos come out every week as soon as they come out, so that you can use it to improve your own performance. Go out there, train smart and train hard, and I hope to see you in the next video.